Now, there's been fresh violence and looting in the Central African Republic capital, Bangui, as the country's ousted president left the country for exile abroad. Yesterday, crowds turned out in their thousands to celebrate Michel Djotodzia's departure from power, but there's been shelling, gunfire and looting since last night, while the UN is stepping up efforts to evacuate foreigners caught up in the fighting. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, is in Bangui. Alex.
Yes, tens of thousands of foreigners, it has to be said, mostly from Central African countries bordering this one, very keen to get out, and it's hard to blame them, frankly. There's been intermittent gunfire and explosions for much of the last 24 hours, though in truth, I have to say, the violence is not perhaps what was expected, certainly in some quarters. As regards the president, the departed president, Michel Djotodia, yesterday he resigned, or he was made to resign, given an offer he really couldn't refuse. Today, exiled in Benin. That's pleased 80% of the Christians here, but they still have a profound and deep hatred, not just for him, but for the security apparatus, the Muslim Seleka militia, who brought him to power and held great sway over him and this country in brutal fashion whilst he was in power. That feeling very clear on the streets here from the word go this morning.
Empty streets in Bangui this morning after a night of clashes between Christian and Muslim militias. The Red Cross say at least 3 people were killed. Those on the streets, mostly looters, carrying what they'd stolen home. From dawn, looters out in force. Brazen is not the word. Christian mobs stealing everything they can from a Muslim business in the town centre, up to and including the roof itself. The soldiers look on. Tricky this, they're the French army, not local policemen. It's him who caused this, we're getting our own back, they shout about the exiled president. Finally, enough's enough. Come on, get out, get out. Put the tire down and get out. Don't let him go out with the plank. As the soldiers clear the area, shots are fired nearby. The car repair business was burned overnight. Pushed outside, they still demand the right to revenge by pillage. Until a self-appointed policeman ends it all, unorthodox but highly effective. An emergency airlift here is about to begin of foreign nationals. 60,000, mostly from neighbouring countries, are desperate to get out. 27,000 have already done so. The constant sight here of giant transport planes and a camp of 100,000 refugees all around them, all the proof needed that the bloodshed and terror continue here.
All of which leaves one simple problem here: how to get the heavily armed Seleka Muslim militia out of town and out of this potential civil war peacefully. Not easy. Krishnan.
Thanks, Alex.